Players are dying left and right in Baldur's Gate 3, and it might not be their fault. We're going to talk about exactly why that is through the use of a very special tool that Larian Studios has recently given to the public, a map. And so what we have here is one of the most interesting things that the developers have given us for information, and that is what they call the Map of Death. Now this map is a heat map for all the players that are dying throughout the full game. So anywhere along this map where a player dies, it'll cause the heat map to go a little more towards the red, the orange, or the yellow. Now, what this means is that when you have players over here at the chapel entrance, a somewhat difficult fight with lots of ranged units, you're going to expect to see a number of deaths. And we can see that particularly here, where many players come in at, will find themselves dying. Likewise, in the chapel, when you have a zone like this, you'll expect to see some deaths. And I won't go into spoiler territory, but I will talk about the most interesting thing about this map. And that isn't over here, that isn't here or here, but rather it is this zone of yellow bordering on going white, which is the initial crash site. This will be your first battle after the tutorial. Now the tutorial is meant to hold your hand and get you through this. Why then are so many players dying here, more so than anywhere else on the map? And a lot of people might say it's due to just being a beginner, but there's an incredible difficulty spike that comes right after the tutorial, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. What does make sense is this: the number 1, specifically being level 1. It all has to do with the source material, and that is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The game is not balanced for early levels, and if you want to go deeper into that subject, I've left a link from the Dungeon Dudes channel. They go over that subject quite clearly and a lot better than I could. But needless to say, when you are dealing with low levels, ultimately the damage ratio from weapons is so high compared to the amount of health that you do, or even spells, depending on what's available, that you may as well be playing the lottery to decide whether your character lives or dies if a hit is landed. This takes away from a lot that modern game design has done to empower the players, and it makes me question how compatible 5th edition is early level wise. Larian Studios has put in a number of features and adjusted their own challenge rating to try to address this, but one of the interesting things is that the quote-unquote sweet spot for leveling in 5th edition is levels 5 through 10. That's where true balance happens. Wizards of the Coast, who develop Dungeons & Dragons, know this. They put most modules that you would play at right around that level. In fact, most playtesting occurs between level 4 through 11 according to the Dungeon Dudes. We know that the original maximum level from Larian Studios was level 10. We know that they're trying to use the system from 5th edition. The question is, will they find a solution to the lower levels to allow newer players to come in and feel that sense of empowerment? Or will they continue to allow players to feel the wrath of the dreaded D20 that can decide your fate in the very, very early levels? Tell me what you think they can do or what you think they should do. In the meantime, I am Nidanoski, and if you've enjoyed this and want to see more videos just like it, consider subscribing so that you stay up to date with everything we release. And also, if you'd like to especially feel generous, maybe give the video a like down below. As always, have fun.